C-130s used to go, and still do, fly everywhere, all over the world. And as government policy waxes and wanes, we get involved with peacekeeping operations and so forth. Certainly I had the experience to visit Harare, which at the time was Salisbury, which was the capital of Rhodesia. But Australia had sent a small peacekeeping force to monitor the elections. It was definitely a war zone, and the place was not a comfortable place to be. I was fortunate. I was in Harare the day it became Harare, the day after the elections were called, and shortly afterwards we evacuated our peacekeeping troops. It was quite an experience. Of course, when you do missile trials, that's one of the things you worry about. You worry about the engine if you've only got one. The F-111 had very forgiving engines. When we did the harm missile firings, we fired 4 of these things. We launched one at Mach 1.2, and this thing left the rails like we almost opened the canopy to see if we'd stopped. It just motored. But we were very worried about all the exhaust plume from the missile going into the engines and, of course, blowing them out. We fired these things well off the continental shelf, south of South Australia. This is Great White Shark territory. And the only thing between us and Antarctica was Tasmania off to our left. We got the test point in, and the engine just coughed. It just gave us a little cough and kept going, which is quite pleasing. I think there's an expletive in the cockpit video of what we said at the time, both of us. The other one is, and I didn't mention it before, is that I was detached to the US Customs Service in Miami. I spent nearly 6 months flying with those guys on what Ronald Reagan called the war on drugs. Interesting work, but it was one of the few places I've actually been shot at. It was a serious war. It was an amazing experience. How an Australian flight attendant gets into these things, I'll never know.